So as we move on to part 3, we begin to draw the Blomberg B locomotive trucks and measure in about 1/8 of an inch, and then in this scale they're 2 1/4 inches. And go up right about 1/2 inch. A lot of times I typically, as I've said several times, I draw both trucks at the same time. And you kind of go in right at about 1/4 of an inch. And another 1/4 of an inch. Up 1/8. What we're basically doing here is we're making a little wheel well. I did that a little fast, but it's basically kind of go in 1/4 and then make this right about 1/4 of an inch wheel well. And it's basically just sort of a box right here. And then there's just kind of this sort of piece of trim that sticks out, piece of frame. And then these two are connected there, and they're connected there. And then you have a frame. You can do it again. This is definitely a locomotive truck type that we'll be drawing quite a few of. A lot of locomotives have this truck. And at this point you can go to the middle of it, which is right about 1 1/8 inches. Or else you can kind of put this little box that has the leaf springs in it. Sometimes I put the wheels on. You can do this in almost any order you want. Almost why I'm doing this part now versus putting the wheels on is to show you that actually there's no real right or wrong way to do this. The main first part that I always do is I draw that frame. That frame is actually pretty essential, so that you kind of have, it's like the border of a puzzle. Once you have that frame, you can kind of do sometimes I start to put the roller bearings in, sometimes I draw. What it is, there's probably about 4 or 5 parts to this truck that are all kind of equally important to finishing it. Doesn't really matter what step you do them in. which is actually kind of nice because it can kind of put the roller bearing in now. Kind of sort of gives you a little variety of like, work on this part next, or work on this part next, or see, you can even do the roller bearing part and then do the air reservoir above it, or you could do the both roller bearings at the same time, or as I said, that's even why I kind of illustrate doing two trucks at the same time. You could draw this entire truck and then draw that truck, and while we're at it, why don't we just put the wheels on? Kind of helps you keep it kind of loose a little bit. While we put the wheels on. See, like here, all of a sudden, I'm putting the wheels on this one. Just because we're putting the wheels on the other one. But see, this truck all of a sudden has far less detail on it. Doesn't really matter. I guess almost what I'm illustrating is how essential getting that frame to it is. Once you have that frame, you can kind of do just about any steps you want. These little circles here. And then we'll get ready to put the brake shoes in. That brake shoe. And put the traction motors and brake shoes. And basically I've drawn this truck in the in greater detail video, which you can watch me draw it much larger, which is good. See, this truck's basically done here. But kind of half of it's just sort of getting the method of how you're doing it. And over time, if you just keep drawing them, your details will improve. But half of it, I would definitely say is just kind of getting the patience of the method of drawing the side frame and then piece by piece filling it in. On almost all trucks, I have to admit, getting the basic side frame of the truck and then filling in details is the biggest essential. Okay, there we go. And then we'll move on to the next step.